For most of my life, I believed that having kids meant not having a life. And for a long time, I didn't want that. Until I realised that it wasn't my belief. So this is a story of how living mindfully has helped me have the best of both worlds. To be a parent and to still really live your life. Join me on a little walk. So my story, never wanting to have kids. When I was a kid, I didn't really think about it. I just didn't really see myself having them. My brother had 4. He worked in the army, and so he wasn't around a lot. And when he did come and see us and visit us with his kids, I kind of didn't know what to do with them. It felt a bit alien. Certainly wasn't maternal. I never even thought I would get married. I never played the brides and bridesmaids with friends, or at least I don't remember. So, yeah, I remember sort of 13 to 15, swearing I'd never have kids. Years passed, my belief didn't change. My friends and family started to get accustomed to it. I got accustomed to them asking all the time, when you're going to get married, when you're going to have kids. It got very old and boring. Quickly changing the subject, because you're kind of done with answering all that after all the years. I didn't feel like I needed it. Didn't feel like I wanted it. And I started with that belief. The older I got, having kids meant no life. Can't live your life with kids. They're a chain to you. People talk about the kids leaving the nest before you live your life. And I just didn't want that. So for a number of years, right into adulthood, into my 30s, my belief stayed fast. I didn't want to have kids, didn't want to get married. Then came the big realisation that that belief wasn't mine. So we were walking the dog once, me and my now husband. This was only a year into knowing him. And we were walking the dog, and he's a twin. And he said, so why don't you want them? I always knew this would be a breaker in a relationship. I thought, here we go, a year in, and this will be the end. So he said, why don't you want them? I said, because you can't have a life. And he said, look, I was a twin. We were taken everywhere. That his dad had a boat, so they used to go boating when they were young, like 2 years old or something. And so I started to question it. And I'd go, what? You went on a boat when you were how old? That seems weird. And so he was right, you know. He basically said, it depends what your parents want to do. If your parents believe that life stops, then that's what's going to happen. But if they believe life carries on, then that's also what's going to happen. None of it's right and none of it's wrong. It's just, it is. It's the life, it's where you get brought up into, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to have to manoeuvre. Look at this ice. I'll turn you around. Look at this. Look at that skate ring. And this beautiful waterfall and castle here. I'm in Greystoke, in Cumbria, in UK. So yeah, so I started to question it all. And I started to think, what is true? What is my belief then? Oh, it got very confusing. It was weird. And then I realised the belief came from my mum, not intentionally. She had my brother quite young, and I went to university and I went and worked on cruise ships. And I would say to my mum, why didn't you go travelling? Why didn't you go to university? And she goes, because I had your brother. And it was said like that on numerous occasions. So that resentment and that tone in her voice really did embed in me. So she never said the words, having kids equals no life, but she implied it. And God, did I swallow that up. That's what I'm saying. Being a mindful parent, it's the hardest job, because you're aware that something you might say flippantly is something they'll take on board forever. So at 35, my clock was now ticking, like it never was before. It was like I'd waken up to that belief wasn't mine, but what goes in its place. I didn't just suddenly feel maternal. So what do? And now the clock's ticking. So if I want them, I've got to get on with it, right? What a place to be in. It so happened that later on that year, my mum died suddenly on my birthday. And I was coming round to the idea of having them at that point, and that year, earlier on in that year. And after my mum died, 3 years after my dad, it got me thinking, because of the mindfulness, it got me thinking, I need more joy in my life. In between my dad and my mum dying, my would-have-been father-in-law died. So I had 3 bereavements in 3 years, hence I was craving this joy. So you could say that was a driving force for me to have kids. Yes, I think, if I'm honest, that was part of the reason. The other part of the reason was feeling regret if I didn't. Now that's a story in itself. So I did have 2 kids, and we started home educating. Fast forward to now, my eldest is 9, my youngest is 5, and I won't lie, it's not been easy. When you've gone a life of never thinking you'd have this, to having it and marriage, you don't know who you are anymore. And that's the thing, when you're mindful, it's sort of like you're swept away on this journey of self-evolution, and it's just amazing but scary at the same time. I look back at myself 5-10 years ago and I can't believe it. So yes, it was difficult. If you've seen some of my videos, you'll know that my husband and my eldest is undiagnosed neurodivergent. My husband also worked away for a good couple of years. 5 days a week. It was hard. It was really hard. There were some really, really challenging times. And yes, I did question, should I have had kids? I'm sure everyone has. If they've been really honest with themselves, I'm sure you've had that time or those moments, outweighed hopefully with the joy that they bring. But there are dark times where you do question these choices. This too shall pass is a very familiar saying. And it's true, the hard times do go and the joyous ones come back. So there's no regrets having them. But it is difficult. And did I see my life like this? No, I didn't. So my belief now is to have a piece of you alongside being a parent. Have a piece of you alongside being a parent. Because if you don't, you lose yourself. And you hear about them, people saying about when the kids flee the nest. Let's be honest, in this world, in this day and age we're in, I think you're lucky if your kids flee the nest at all. And even if they do, it's a lot later than it ever was. And you look at my age when I started having them at 35, 36, you're an old parent, right? Geriatric, as they say. So the chances are they're going to be living at home getting into older age, right? So my belief is having a piece of you alongside being a parent and finding that balance. What's a piece of you? What do I mean by that? Don't lose yourself. Like I've just said, we're always evolving, we're always growing if we're mindful about it. What did you used to do when you were a kid? Do you still like it or not? Go find out. I used to roller boot. I got some roller boots a couple of years ago and went to a roller disco with my kids. You know, you can be the child you used to be, have the joy you used to have, do it with your kids, or do it separately. Find some time. Did you enjoy painting? Do you still enjoy painting? Do you like drawing? Do you like running? Do you like walking in nature? Even that little time out every day, every week, every month, something that keeps you going alongside being a parent. I'm such an advocate for that. So that is a big belief now that has replaced the whole having kids means no life, because that is not my belief. It never was. So what are we doing now to show you that we are living life like that, living life alongside being a parent? We are travelling full time as a family. We have sold everything. It's, I don't even know what day it is now, 10th of January. We sold our house on the 19th of December. We're still in the UK. It's freezing. And we intend to travel to see the sun and live in the sun and have a nice lifestyle as a family. We're finalising a few bits and then we will be off. And we are creating a life that we don't need to vacate from. We don't need a holiday from. A life that we can be together, connected, and enjoy each other while still having that piece of you. You know, when you home educate, you know that you don't have a lot of time. You have to make the time. You have to be proactive and make the time. It's going to be the same when we world school. So I've got a playlist, a separate playlist for that, Living Our Best Life, and you can follow us on that journey for that. So does having kids mean you don't have a life? I don't think so. It doesn't have to be that way if you live mindfully. So what can you do to bring something into your life so you don't lose yourself? What can you do to get the balance of being a parent while still enjoying being you? I really advocate that. I'd love to hear what you do to get that balance in the comments. What your beliefs were before you became a parent, or maybe what your beliefs still are having not been a parent. Have you felt regret? Either way, I'd love to hear. And in my next video, I plan on talking about when our partners become our roommates. That's another touchy subject, isn't it? So if you're interested in that and you want to also check out the other playlist, best thing to do is, as you know, hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment, all that jazz. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you. Thanks for watching. Much love. Bye for now.